Going to try a little tiger in watercolour. Okay, we've got this to a certain stage. What I'm concerned about is the white edge. And I think I'm going to try masking fluid. I've never used it before. It's a first for me, but I think this is a very appropriate case to put some masking fluid around here so that I can get a nice dark background to allow the tiger to shine. That's the plan. And so this is the masking fluid as it starts to be applied. It's a Schminke blue tinted masking fluid. Never used it before, but I thought it was appropriate here because it'll keep everything nice and fresh and clean once I get the background in. And this scruffy old brush is capable of producing very fine lines. And so that's our tiger all masked off. I'm completely out of my comfort zone with this. Never done anything like this before. But it's interesting. I mean, it's so different to oil paints, but it's good to challenge yourself. I think this mask is going to work, but I never know. We never know until we try it. So now to continue, maybe get this background in around the mask. See how that goes. Okay, just decided to get a little bit more creative with the mask. Just put a few of these splashes on. It gives me sort of more leeway with the background because these will then be white and I'll be able to tone them in with a second colour or leave them bright. Just gives me a little bit of manoeuvring room to make the background a little bit more interesting. Okay, we've roughed in some of the greens, we've lifted out a few shapes. Never done anything like this before, so it's all new, it's all interesting. I'm quite excited to see how it'll look when the masking fluid comes off. Okay, let's see how we get on removing some of this rubber. Not coming off very easily. That's a bit of a concern. I thought it was going to be easier to remove than it is. But it does seem to have done the job. Okay, reasonably happy with this now. It looks like loose bamboo. It's the sort of effect I've been going for. A little bit of splatter there. It's difficult to tell when you haven't done the subject properly. You know, I don't want it to shout too loud, but then again, it's got to be striking in its own way. So I think I'll leave it here for now. It may be good enough. Maybe it'll need something more, but I'll only know that when I get this done. Three colours that really stood out for me in this painting were Azo Yellow by Daniel Smith, Aussie Red Gold, also Daniel Smith, and Imperial Purple, which I used to sort of tone everything down a bit. I also put some greens in the body colours as well, but those three colours really stood out for me as being excellent in this painting. Really warm, rich and vibrant colours.
watercolour, I'm discovering a whole new universe of ideas regarding the application of paint. It's the opposite of everything I know from my experience as an oil painter. In this world, you work from the lightest parts down to the darkest, which means the parts you would think of last are now coming first. You need to get your head around this concept right from the start. You've got to plan very carefully with watercolour. And that's not easy after doing quite the opposite things for so many years. Here it's light to dark, and here in this world less is more. And more can be a very, very dangerous territory indeed. If you go too far, you can kill your light and therefore ruin your painting. So it's much more dangerous. I was having to be very careful here. But on the other hand, there's something wonderful about watercolour. It's intriguing. And I think once these new rules settle into your mind, I think it can be a very relaxing and very rewarding medium.
Okay, so we've got this nice and dark to make the lights look brighter. But now I need to lift out some hairs if possible. Let's see. There. Got this old brush for the job. That does pretty good actually. It's not perfect the way you could do it in other mediums like pastel or oil, but within the context of watercolour, it's working. Tidy up this tomorrow. This area needs all tidying up. I've resisted putting any gouache. This is purely watercolour, so I'm quite proud of that fact. Although I think I'm going to put a bit of white gouache here to really bring out those whiskers.
I use that gouache straight from the tube so that it has a maximum opacity. Just dip the paintbrush into the end of the tube and then just dotting on a few little bits here and there. Here I'm just trying to get the whisker nice and bright. It's not perfect. It's not the easiest way of getting a bright white, I've found, even when you're just dabbing it on straight from the tube. But if you put several layers on, don't add water, it does work. And here I'm just pushing my luck a little bit. I've added some of that azo yellow into a little bit of white gouache, just to try and get a couple of cheeky highlights and to really just experiment and just compare with the brightness of that versus the scooping out the paint method that I was doing earlier.
Normally when I put these strokes on, I'm disappointed that they disappear, sort of fade into the background colour, but at the moment that's exactly what I want. It's giving a richness and a depth to the fur which I didn't have before. I actually discovered it when I did a little bit of that here, and I thought, that works very well. It's Azo Yellow from Daniel Smith. It's a very beautiful, powerful yellow. Just tidying up all my edges, just creating more of a fur effect with my stripes. I've got Daniel Smith's Imperial Purple and a bit of black here. Edges are very important, particularly these types of edges where it relates to your fur work. Very important. And also a little bit of the old darkness here and there. You must never overdo these things, but a little bit of touching up here and there.
And once again, thank you to everybody for watching my video. I hope you're enjoying it, and if you are, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It's really helpful to me if you do. Thank you.